I'll do a quick shout out quickly. There's a Monday night bar 8 comp that a lot of people go to. I haven't been down there in a long time. I know Gus and that goes down there. There's a chick called Ebony Butler. She just made the top 4. She's been practicing. She's been playing now for about a year, and she's been practicing her heart out. And she made the top 4, I think, with Tem and a few of the others. So I just want to say well done and keep up the good work. Just
Good on
like
you, Ebony.
good stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of people that go down there all the time. I live about, like same with Mark, about an hour and 20 from bar 8, but with traffic it can blow out to a lot longer. So it's very hard to get down there on a Monday night, especially my wife does gym Mondays and I can't get her out of that. So I never get to go up there, but it's a good comp for Georgia that she runs it up there. So good stuff on that.
Well done, Ebony. Yeah, I should go and check that out. I've got no excuses. It's probably about 10 or 15 minutes from my place. But
really?
But I've never been to the Monday night comp. I'm playing pool Tuesday night and then snooker Wednesday night, so it's just another night out, right? So, but I should go down.
Well, those tournaments are fantastic, especially for about your intermediate players. You know, you got guys like, you know, Gus and Steve Tran, Tem, you know,
Sean
Mick Reed,
Dempsey, yeah,
Sean Dempsey, and then Jamo. Like, you're talking about like you got like state to world class players that you can play in for a $10 or $20 entry or whatever. You know, what other sports can you do that? What other sports can you just rock up and, you know, if I wanted to have a kick to kick with Gary Ablett, it's going to cost me more than $20. Like but you can do this with pool. It's just that easy. Very fortunate.
Yeah, it's pretty good, and you get to mingle with, you know, the best players in the business.
Well, not me. I'm rude. I sit in the corner on my phone, wait till I get called up, and then I play, lose, and then leave.
Like I'm
doing my cue as I'm walking out the door. My cue case is still open. I'm doing the latches on by the time I get to the car. We're out of there. Well, the last tournament I played in, I left before I even lost.
That's true. That's true. Let me give you an update. Last week I was telling you how pathetic I was in that rack runner tournament. I did have a third attempt and I got 5 out of 25 in the last one, which is about what I expected.
That's good. That's a good improvement of 0.
It sure is. Yeah. So 1 in 5. Like I was okay with it. Like I think if I do well, I should kind of approach about 10. But I was happy to get a score.
Did you do any drills or anything to improve on last time, or you just played the rack running and top 5?
No, I did kind of take your advice. So I spent a bit of time doing some warm ups, long potting, and in particular down the cushions as well, just to try and hone that in, because you get a lot of those shots. In those rack runs where you have to play. One
thing too you could do before you do a rack running is just set 4 or 5 balls, just fairly easy, and actually roll them all in and knock them all in and then knock the black in, and that gives you that feeling of finishing and you know, and completing the task in a way. Just do that 2 or 3 times before the comp. Just something so simple can actually make a difference, because a lot of people will get down and just start belting balls, and you see it at nationals before we play South Australia or whatever. Everyone gets out there, we've got a couple of minutes to go, and people are just belting balls left, right, and centre. It's not how we play anyway. Like, you're better off to have a minute by yourself, knock in a couple of nice balls, maybe a few stun shots, and then just let someone else have a go. So try and
like a mini mop-up drill? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but just it doesn't have to be 7. Just put 4 or 5. Just maybe 1 near a rail and 2 or 3 next to it, and then just roll them all in, and then you get that sense of achievement. You'll feel a lot better going into the rack running as well. So it's all about, obviously, you know, your head, realistically. So
and I always find it takes me 10 or 15 minutes before my break starts to go well as well. Like, you've got to start to loosen up get your arm going and loosen up a bit so that you can kind of get through the break. The first couple of those are always tight and they don't spread well.
I need a good half an hour to 45 minutes. If I'm ever playing like a race to 11, 21, whatever, I need to be down there having a hit for a good half an hour before, and then you'll see me play better. But I'm really bad for the first 10, 15, 20 minutes. So if I just rock up and then start playing, I can be pretty bad.
Half an hour is about my total practice time for a tournament.
And that's
in a
round
week.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
That's round
Oh,
1 and 2.
Yeah, yeah, and I use the early rounds for it. I reckon, Marty, if I was to come over and you played all the shots that I told you to in the rack running, I reckon you'd get closer to. I reckon you'd probably average around 7 or 8 out of 25. Be for two reasons. One, in those rack running things, people still go about the outs as if they would in a normal frame, just out of habit. Like,
We learnt
you
this.
know, they're too conservative, basically. They don't take the risks early when the balls are congested, so they, because of fear of missing or something like that. But there is none of that. And just the general routing and mapping, you would be surprised at pretty much every frame.
You need some Rusty
showing you
Wheeler
a
in you.
different way.
Yeah. I think I'm okay on the first one. Like I generally try and identify problems and I'm trying to solve it in my first or second shot. I'm not trying to wait 5 or 6 shots to knock them out. So I'll take on a difficult positional shot or a difficult pot and extraction in the first shot, and I'm happy to just go, okay, if I miss it, I miss it, but if I get it, then the rack's on.
You're taking more risks in rack running because you don't have a second chance. It's do or die all the time. So if the out is like 30%, you're going to get it going one way. But if you play a crazy 1 in 6 shot, and if it works, then it's all tap ins. You're gonna do that, because it's do or die straight away. So you tend to take a lot more risks in rack running, and being conservative, like what Mark said before, it doesn't really work out for you. And we've learnt this over time by doing that. So, but it's such a crazy game.
Robbo, maybe it's every month. So if we do it again, maybe if we find time, we can have a session next month before I have an attempt. It'd just be interesting to see what your feedback would be on how I went.
Is there any of you doing it online?
Is there any video of me doing it online?
Yeah.
Yes, there is. Yes.
I can just watch that.
Yeah. Okay. If you've got a spare hour of your time, you can. I mean, a lot of them.
Let's watch a couple of frames. I don't need to watch the whole lot.
All right. No worries. I'll send you a link. You can
send me a link. I'll watch some games and
okay.
I'll pick it up. I'll pick it apart.
Be prepared.
I'm brutal.
Maybe if we pick one out next time we do a podcast, you can commentate one of my frames and talk about what I did correctly or incorrectly. That'd be interesting.
I'm letting you know now. You're doing everything wrong.
That's fine. I'm happy to do everything wrong. Yeah.
And I knew you'd be happy to take that because you're the kind of person that understands that that's awesome. If you think to yourself, okay, I'm fairly competitive with the top players and I'm doing everything wrong. Imagine when I started doing half the things right, how much better I would go. That's what a lot of people do. When I do coaching sessions with people, the first thing I say to them is, I'm trying to find as many problems as I can, and the more I find, the better it is. Yeah. Especially big ones that are easy to fix, because I'm thinking about the rate of improvement. If you come over and see me and I'm like, you know what, you're kind of doing everything right, you just need to put in another 7 years. It's not very motivating.
Yeah. In other news, I had my first snooker coaching lesson with Steve Mifsud this week.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm just seeing how I go there. Like that was, I found that really useful as well. He, just because that's his style, I think we did a little bit of billiards as well, which I've never done before. So that was really interesting. I'll hold thoughts on that perhaps for a future pod, but it was good to get some experienced advice on that front.
In a short 20-second thing, what was he sort of teaching you? Like, obviously we can talk about 8-ball, but when it comes to snooker, it's sort of like, was he talking more about the game or your approach to it, or just in general?
It was more the execution of particular types of shot, playing a black off reasonably straight black off the spot, but playing it with a bit of side in either direction to allow you to get straighter or to throw it in a bit and get better position. Little subtleties like that I just, never had anyone teach me before.
Have you, I suppose whenever we talk about snooker, people always bring it up. What's your highest break?
My highest break in practice is 72.
Yep.
In comp, I've never made a 50 in comp, but I reckon I've made 20, 40 somethings in comp.
Yeah. Have you played much comp?
I've played, maybe 6 or 7 years, but DVSA Handicap League was most of that, which is a bit different. Yeah. Only a couple of years of pennant VBSA, which is more traditional, just off scratch, open racks, away you go. So
it's good fun. It's good fun.
I really enjoy snooker, and I think it helps a bit just with queuing and potting.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting to kind of learn some of the subtleties of those things.
Yeah.
So I'll keep that in mind for future sessions. Now, first came off the rank. There's a bit of a results roundup from since last week. The Johnnie Walker Classic was on at Empire Pool Room in Adelaide. That's Alex's pool room. That was won by a Leon Hogg, who I don't know, and I'm not sure that you guys know either.
I heard he's been away from the game for about 20 years. I was speaking to Kev.
Right. He looked pretty young yesterday. In the video. Yeah.
Yeah. He played back in the day,
Yeah, played back in the day, and then it was about a 20-year break, and then now he's back, and he's knocked off a few good scalps too.
Absolutely. So he definitely wasn't a seed, but he's made. He's got through the final and won, and he defeated the GOAT, Alec Evernatis, makes yet another final of a major. No one's surprised about that. But Leon actually had quite a resounding win, so congratulations to you, Leon, for Hoggy, I think everyone was calling. Congratulations to you on that.
It was back in my junior days. I remember the name, and the fact that I remember the name shows that he had a reputation and was known as a better player. Like Leon Hogg, it's sort of a bit of a cool name as well. It's sort of one remember. Not Brian Samuel, like it's just Leon Hogg. Sounds like
sorry for Brian Samuel out there.
Yeah. But Leon Hogg sounds like almost like an action hero's superstar sort of name.
Yeah.
So anyway,
and I'm pretty sure I saw a video on Facebook where Alec put a bounty on Jake's head of a few $100 to the player that beat him, and Leon has knocked Jake off in the quarterfinals. So not only has he won the tournament and come away with the prize money, but he's also got the bounty that was on Jake's head. So
it's either for $200 or $250, I think, or it might have been for $500. I'm pretty sure it's $200 or $300.
Yeah.
So
in any case, congratulations on both of those things there, and well done.
That's just Alex's way of doing a sneaky, just trying to give anyone
absolutely
changing some vibe against just in the Jake matches, just hoping he bloody loses.
Absolutely. I mean, Jake, for Jake to go out in the quarters, that's a pretty early exit for Jake in a tournament these days. So
I can't remember the last time he didn't at least make a quarterfinals. Like I can't tell you the last time he lost in a last 32 or something in anything.
Yeah,
it's
and usually
crazy
the early rounds are when a big seed is more likely to go out because it might be a shorter race or they haven't warmed up yet. It's in the morning and they're cold. Sometimes that's when you can get it. But
the very rare times he plays bad, that 1 in 10 matches or whatever, his opponents, they have heart attacks against him. So when he shows vulnerability and they win a frame or win 2 frames, and then it goes 2-all.
They're not meant to win. So
all of a sudden, then there's 60 people watching the match, which Jake is used to, and his opponents aren't. And then you watch it. I've seen it time and time again. They can't do a thing. They just.
But he's earned that reputation too. So
absolutely. Ben had it for a while. Ben had it for a while years ago. And then he passed that mantle on to Jake, bypassed me, just gave it to Jake. So yeah,
do you have a bogey player, Marty, out there?
Do I have a bogey player?
But you don't like playing?
I mean, it's been a long time since I've played tournament 8-ball.
Did you have one back in the day?
Not that I can think of. I mean, no. I don't think I was good enough to
beat everyone,
to get deep runs in a lot of big tournaments. Like I've only made the final of a major once.
But it could be anyone, really. Like
it could be, yeah.
Fair enough.
You should have
I would always feel intimidated coming up against an Australian level player, for example, because that was a clear level above where I was at my best.
You should have beaten Colin Lataris in the final of.
Should have been.
It was like a nationals tournament or something. It was.
Yeah,
I remember.
It was the Miss Q's Classic. It's one of. I've only got a couple of trophies that I keep on my shelf, and that was the pre-nationals tournament.
Yeah, it's Colin Lataris. I remember you had a good lead on him, and you're on the hill, and
I was 3-0 up in a race to 6.
Yeah,
and I didn't see another frame. Yeah, he beat me 6-3.
Yeah, good player, Colin.
Yeah.
Yes. The other big tournament since last week was the Australian Snooker Championship. Not an 8-ball title, but a snooker title, which was won by Kurt Dunham, the Wiz. Beat James Misford in the final.
6-5.
6-5, yeah. It was a really close match. They were going frame for frame in that. Kurt's first Australian snooker title, and it becomes one of only 2 players ever to have won both the Australian snooker title and the Australian 8-ball title.
Yeah.
The other being, of course, Sean Budd, if anyone's not following along.
Sean Budd, good man.
Sean Budd, a great snooker player, and won the 8-ball title in 99 in Melbourne in the Crown Casino.
Never seen him angry, though. He's always smiling.
He's a pretty happy guy, yeah.
I think Kurt won his 8-ball title on the hill against Ben Noonan as well. So there you go.
Right.
2013, I think it was.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, it was about then, yeah.
Yeah, good on you, Kurt. That's a great win and a close match. And I think, because I was talking to Steve about this during the week, Steve was undefeated in that event for 5 years, lost to his brother on the hill. So a great run. Steve's won, I think, 11 Australian snooker titles or something.
It's insane. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous record in that tournament. So, James got beat his brother, and then Kurt's knocked over James in the final. In a bit of a pot fest, it was great to just see Kurt going for everything and getting the results on the board to win that title.
Sometimes you need to as well. So
yeah.
It's just his style, it's when that's why he can do so well in tournaments and win them, is because he just plays this very aggressive style at all the Cuesportz I've seen him play. It's what allows him to win a big tournament or run really deep in big tournaments. He's a very scary player to play against, but at the same time, there's people who he can lose to that the other top players don't, because they don't quite go for the things that he does. So, but you take it and leave it. I'd rather lose in a last 32 of a tournament and then win the next one rather than just make quarterfinals all the time.
Yeah,
but never win.
That's right. Yeah, I really love that about Kurt's game. The same as he did in the Pocket series, right? He didn't.
Just went for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But didn't win anything until the big one, and then knocked everyone off in the in that event, and it played some incredible highlight reel shots. A side note: there was people talk about the Slate Pro tournament, I think, which had 100K prize money. There was an event in the late 90s that had 100K prize money at Cuesportz in Melbourne, at Knox City. Scerri, that's before your time, Scerri. You weren't playing pool that. Robbo, do you remember
I've been
that?
playing now for about 22 years now, 22 years roughly.
I reckon this was 97 or 98, and Sean Budd played Steve Mifsud in the final.
Yeah.
And won it. Robbo, were you there?
I played in it.
You played in it. And I think your brother played in it too, did he?
Yes, we both played in it.
Both played in it, yeah.
It was $200 entry, and I used my savings, and I played in that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I played, if you won one match, you got your money back.
That's right,
I drew Val Hoffertz in the first round. Really
good player. Yes.
Very good player. Sort of like Mick. Think of like a Vince Falcon, at his best.
Yeah.
I lost to him, and then I played Marty Brady.
Yes.
And then I beat Marty.
Jeez, you've got a good memory. And that was.
But I
so
remember
you must have been pretty young. Like what? Let's say that was 98. How old would you have been in 98?
It's easy to have a good memory when you only win one match.
I think I was about 15. Well, I remembered Marty's match from 20 years ago against Colin Lataris in a final that I had nothing to do with. So
Yeah, there you go.
I
Was it
reckon
world rules? Was it world rules?
Yes.
back then, yeah.
This one at Cuesportz? Yes, it was world rules. Yes. That was before I had done anything. So they actually had a novice tournament as a precursor to that, which I was runner up in, and part of my winnings was a free entry into the main event. So I kind of got a free. I think I got $1,500 for coming runner up in the novice
free
event,
rolling.
and then I
See
got
what
a free
happens
roll
when
in
you
the
free
main.
roll?
Yeah, it's great. It was great. So that was a big event, and one of the best matches that I think I've ever watched live. Sean Budd and Steve Mifsud just both went for everything again. So aggressive.
That would have been.
At a time when people didn't naturally play as aggressively as that.
That's what I was about to say. I think, yeah, they would have been in a different league of their own, sort of playing like a Ben Noonan back in the day.
There was snooker players that they could play tactics and stuff like that, but snooker players generally, when they played 8-ball, they just go.
Snooker players don't know how to play 8-ball though.
Well, Sean Budd then won an Australian 8-ball title a couple of years later. Although I think it might have still been one of the last events where it wasn't an open singles event. It was just each state had their one singles player that they played each other.
Eight people.
Yeah, so 8 people in the event. So I think that was Sean won it in that format, and it must have changed pretty soon after that. Anyway, that was a little trip down memory lane. Now, last week on the pod, we put a shout out to people to say, let us know if you've got some local events that you want to mention, and we've had one roll in. So a little shout out to Jason Tanaskovic, or JT from the ACT. He was telling me about the ACT Super League. So it's a teams event, but they take the top player on the stats at the end of that event to automatically get into their state team. You'll be surprised to hear that JT is currently leading the stats, having let us know about that. Still about 5 weeks to go there, I think. But
so you have to. So they're going to pick the whole state team just off this league.
No, just one. The top player in the stats gets an automatic spot.
Okay.
So Jace has done the old, like you're halfway through a pool tournament and then someone just comes up to you and who's in the tournament and they say, hey, how you going? Are you still in? And you go, oh, yeah, still in. And they're looking at you, waiting. And you go, are you still in? And they go, yeah. Just had a good win. Just had a good win there. So he's basically done that. That's all right. I like Jace.
Good on you, JT. JT's been a bit of a supporter of the pod and re-pushing our stuff on his social as well. So thanks, JT. And I know he does a bit of his own stuff on the socials. He does some break and runs and some things on there. So it's good to see you out there, JT. And thanks for supporting us.
And Dan Rucci from Pool Shark Coaching.
Yes.
He jumped on a bit earlier and gave us a few tips on a few things to do with the podcast as well. So thanks for that, Dan, as well.
Thanks, Dan. Great to get some feedback and advice on all those things.
Do you think we should do something like that in Victoria? Have like some league or something and take the top stat shooter or something like that?
Mick says no. We have to play in it. And it's...
No, you don't have to play in it.
No, just do the top 20 like we've been doing. It's great. It's fine.
How about, I think our under 18, maybe our under 18 state champion should make the open a spot in the open team.
I'd be happy for them to get a spot in the top 20.
What if 100%? That's what I was about to say. I think they should get an automatic spot in the top 20, and then if they're good enough from there, definitely good experience for them. So they don't even have to try out. The under 18s get that spot in the 20, and they just wait for the rest of us to roll in. So I think that's a great idea.
Stuff like that. I like to see more stuff like that, more incentives for things, doubles winners and stuff like. I like multiple avenues. You know, people can have like even more of the country leagues out in down Warragul and Trafalgar and all those places. Maybe the top
40 maybe
go into the top 40 or the top 20, something like that. I'd like to see some more avenues and more, because like those guys, they don't want to have to travel down like so many times. You know, it's a long way to travel, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like to see more of that.
Even going back on that 18, whoever wins it is in the top 20. Maybe the runner-up can go into the top 40, and that's how they can decide it. So
I would love in a perfect world, I'd love to see a series of events, probably one every 2 months or one every month, so 6 to 12 events that people get ranking points for, and maybe the people that are the highest up in the rankings get an entry to the top 20 or the top 40. So you still have that, you've got a playoff for your spot, but if you've worked hard throughout the year, you get some reward for your effort.
Well, maybe have a one tournament a year, like a major, but have it so that whoever finishes first gets put in the top 20 or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. Could be something like that.
And 10 would go there and quickly snipe it and slide into the top 20.
Ranking points, mate.
That's it. Loves his ranking points.
Loves those ranking points. Now, there's a couple of big events coming up, so I just wanted to kind of call these out. A couple of big events and then a less kind of elite event, but I still want to mention it anyway. The first one is, and these are all different. First one is the Australian Open 9-ball championships are actually happening this weekend in a couple of days.
This weekend?
This weekend, yeah, August 30 to 31.
What day? Wondering if you can play it. Where is it?
It's at the new Club 9 in Sydney.
Sydney. Mick won't go.
It's Sydney. I'm pretty sure that Trav Crawley is a partner in that venue. They've literally just opened in the last week. The venue looks fantastic. If you haven't
did Trav do any advertising for this, or is he just trying to snipe an Australian 9-ball?
Well, Trav's over at the World, so he's not playing.
Yeah, but he's flying back
for the weekend.
Whoever wins that tournament plays Trav in the final.
Yeah. Just be postponed.
Anyway, good luck for everyone playing in that. There's an APPA Facebook page. That's the Australian Pool Players Association. Okay. I think I'll put a link in the show notes, but they're going to stream the finals on there if you want to check out the Australian Open 9-ball.
In future, for those that are listening with these 9-ball events and stuff, and I've spoken to a few in the past before, try and get them out on social media a little bit more as well. It's not hard to say to send it to 10 different people that you know, and then they just send it on Facebook and we're all going to see it. Don't just put it on one page and expect everyone to see it as well. I don't know how they've done it, but I haven't heard anything of it. And I'm on social media as well. So I think it's not hard to get things well known out there. It takes you 5 minutes to send it to a few people, and I think everyone should be doing that too. So just to promote them as well.
Yeah, and let us know. We're happy to call it out. Let us know, a couple of months in advance.
Yeah,
we'll put it on the pod so people have got time to register and plan ahead and go. You can comment on any of our social media pages or to us directly, and we'll slot it in for you. So
and if you want to enter, message Mark, and he'll put you in.
That's right.
Don't forget to put my own entry in.
The next one. This is actually this is actually a cool event, and Mick, I'm wondering if you might be going. The Gippy Cup is on in Sale, Victoria. You're going along in September.
Yeah, they're
late
really
September.
Really good guys down there. I've been down there before. Channel 7 or 9 also goes down there, and they cover it a little bit too. And it's been good. And I promised them I'd go back again when I got a chance, and I'm going to do it this year. And it's going to be pretty much one of the biggest ones. There's like 80 plus teams. There's hundreds and hundreds of people going to go. It's going to be massive, and it's just nice to go away to one of these things and have a few drinks and see people that you normally don't see, and they get to see you as well, and we can talk about things and play some pool for what it is again, to try and enjoy it and love it, rather than always going places to try and win big tournaments and stress about that. I want to go and relax, hit some balls around the table, and upset a few people, flick some balls in, and just have some fun.
I played in it once. And I didn't experience any of that. I felt more pressure under the pump. Felt like I was playing for a world title.
Yeah.
And I was promised that people don't play any good out in the country, and everyone's potting out on me playing like freaks, and I had a horrible time, Marty. A horrible time.
I've played in quite a few of these. There's the Gippy Cup.
There's no expectations.
There's one in Wonthaggi as well that I think they call the Country Cup, which is fantastic. This one in Gippsland, they're calling it the biggest social teams event in the country. 41 tables, 4 separate divisions. So this is not all A graders. This is B, C, D graders.
No, this is massive. It was massive when I went a couple of years ago, and it's even bigger now. And like Ash Voigt and all that, they do an amazing job. So good stuff, and I'll see them soon.
Yeah, Ash is the one who dropped me a message to let me know. So thanks, Ash, for sending it through. And like to back Mick up here, these events are really fantastic. Even the elite players who go along to these things are really just looking for a social weekend. They have a drink, you chat with everyone wandering around. There's all these people. They're great fun. It's pretty common to see people having jug-it-ups if if one player in a round loses and everyone else wins, they've got to shout their teammates a drink.
It's a good weekend. It really is. I'm going up Saturday. Yeah, I'm staying home Friday night because the wife's working, so selfish. So I'm staying home Friday night, and I'll be driving up Saturday morning, and I'm going to start this Saturday night. So I'll be up there Saturday morning ready for the qualifying, and yeah.
So check out, there's a page on Facebook called Gippy Cup. I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. But yeah, they're great events.
Awesome.
And the last one coming up is at the end of September 29 to October 4, is the 2025 Heyball International Open in Melbourne at the ZZ Joy Billiards Club in the city. So this is a Chinese 8-ball event running in Melbourne. It's got $50,000 US, so it's about $75,000 Australian total prize money. About $23,000 to the winner. This is a big prize money event.
What month was this?
It's the end of September 29 to October 4.
Soon.
What's that?
Pretty soon, yeah. It occurred to me, I was looking at this and I thought, maybe Mark and Mick will consider this. Like if you make the last 32, you'll bring home a touch over $600 Australian.
All right, here's what I'll do. I'll play in it, and I've never hit a ball on any of these Chinese snooker tables. I never hit one single ball. I'll find a table. No,
Jake's got one in his factory.
You know what?
Jake's
got one in his factory.
Yeah.
All right, I'll find a table the day before. I'll have a hit, and I'll find a cue from somewhere, and then I'll go in the tournament just to piss these guys off who are practicing 50 hours a week. Just in case I roll one of them. And if I don't, I've only put in a few hours of time, so it's all good. I'll just go home. So that's what I'll do. All the pressure will be on them. It will be very funny for once. Be very funny for once for me to go somewhere and just throw the cue around and not care and play all these guys who are stressed out. It sounds like fun.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Marc Robertson will be at the 2025 Heyball International Open.
The 24 hours before, he's going to be like, why did I say that?
Yeah.
Now I have to go.
Yeah, that happened for Tassie.
I wasn't going to mention that.
One Facebook Live walk around the block, and all of a sudden I'm committed to everything left, right, and centre.
Yeah,
no, but look, for that amount of prize money,
right?
For that amount of prize money, and it's in the city,
Who plays
city?
Who plays Chinese 8-ball here, other than Jake and
Justin? I don't know. So
surely 2 hours of practice should be enough, shouldn't it?
I mean, I presume that there are some good players at the club who base themselves at this club. It's a club in the city, so there might be some locals.
Yeah, there's a lot of ego. There's a lot of ego in 8-ball. So
yeah,
you'll have a lot of players from around the country playing at it, and you'll have a bunch of snooker players and all sorts of stuff for that amount of prize money.
Yeah,
can international people play in it?
It's called the International Open.
So
I
Neil's
presume
down
so.
Here. Then could Neil play in it if he was down here?
Depends on his contract, I presume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
He could pretend he's Mark.
Yeah.
That's true. Just shave his head for the day.
He'd have to go down about
he'll have to miss every third ball, though.
Yeah. It'd just be crap. I don't know if he could be that crap, actually.
Yeah.
He doesn't have it in him.
Hopefully, that's a good bit of prize money. Hopefully we get some international players come over from from China, or even from the UK has a few Chinese 8-ball players. So yeah, it'd be great to see some good international stars here locally.
I remember when Neil was down last time, he was doing a break and run on my YouTube channel, and he had one ball left, and one of us said, "Oh, this is like a long pot. Like how many times?" I think Mark said something like, "How many times, would you ever miss this?" And Neil sort of chuckled, like, it looked over and went, "I'd never miss it." And we're talking about this shot as a long pot, and he's looking at it like, "I just wouldn't miss this."
I think I remember.
I could bring it up. I could find the footage. It was like, he just got down and knocked it in. Yeah, but he just wouldn't consider it at all. Like, no, it's not a hard shot. And we're like, okay, fair enough.
I think I remember, and he had the white had to come off the cushion and hit another ball, and he said, "You'll just."
No, that was another one. That was another one.
Oh, okay.
That was another one. But in his defense,
I remember him saying, you can't, if you make the pot, you can't miss the ball. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I can miss the ball.
Yeah, well, I don't think he actually really missed a ball in the three things that we did. We did some doubles, singles, and there was something else. And I don't think I saw him miss a ball. So it was pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah, well, nothing on a 7-footer is really a long pot compared to a snooker table, right?
No.
Yeah.
Well, with the Chinese 8-ball, I hear like two very conflicting things. I hear that how hard the tables are, tight pockets, extremely hard game. That's half of the things I hear, and then the other half of the things I hear is you should see how amazing everyone is. They run 10 racks in a row and never miss, and I'm like, okay, well, everything I've seen, which I've not watched a lot, I've not seen these rack runathons, and I actually don't. I've hardly seen a rack get ran. To be honest, actually, there's a lot of mistakes. So it's a weird one where you get a lot of people saying how hard it is, but then there's a lot of people saying, some players just run endless racks.
I'm sure I remember
it. I don't really see it.
I'm sure I remember a news story recently where Gareth Potts ran 9 racks in a row in a tournament, and that was a world record. So,
yeah, I'm sure that stuff happens. Ronnie O'Sullivan made 2 maximums in a match of snooker.
Yeah.
That was AI.
But like you look at there was one, I think Mick, you sent it in another chat. There was like a race to 5. Xing Tong made almost like 5 centuries. It was like 3 centuries and 2 90s. But even if you watch that match, I haven't watched it, but even if you watch it, I bet he still made mistakes. And the other guy would have gotten in and missed some balls and stuff. So even when you watch them, there are still errors in there, So I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting. I'll go down, throw the cue around, see what happens. It's already going to be interesting.
Great. And so it starts September 9, but you can register up till September 24. So you can wait till that last week to register.
It starts September 9.
September 29. Let's do a roundup of the world titles. The world titles are in progress. We're only a couple of days in. All of these kind of results are a bit incremental, but I'll give you some stats. Let's start with the ladies team. The Australian ladies have won 1 out of 3 matches.
Yeah.
So they're in sixth spot on the table. It's still early days, but they do need to get some wins on the board as they come.
Yeah.
I've checked the individual
stats.
Still
a good enough side to, yeah.
They're
still a good enough side.
I've actually seen some stuff on the social media channels from other countries talking about how good the Australian ladies team is. Like it's a real super team. So
too early to tell. I wouldn't be too fussed with a couple of losses right now. So
no, that's right. It's not panic stations, but just got to get some wins back on the board and work your way up. I've checked all the individual stats as well. Colby sitting equal second in the stats in the ladies event, shooting 66%. Yep. So well done, Colbs. Keep it going.
Yeah.
No surprise. Fantastic Australian ladies player, Colby Paul. The men's team, absolutely flying. Won 4 out of 4 matches. Sitting second in the ladder, but only just on percentage. Fantastic start. But I will call out that I think the big four teams are Ireland, Wales, England, and Northern Ireland. All four of those teams have got like multiple reps in them that are players in the Ultimate Pool Pro Series who've played on those tables.
Lost a couple already, haven't they?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's try and do this live.
Well, I think they were I think they were 5th or 6th on the ladder. Or they were down somewhere around there.
They were down a bit, but I think one of those, only 2 of those teams have played each other.
Yeah, I only had a brief look.
So fantastic start, and certainly those wins are really helpful, getting the wins they deserve.
Good stuff.
Cale Barrett, and Rob Bowen are both in equal first on the stats, shooting above 80%. Like,
so why can't he do that in EDPR?
Which one? Rob Bowen?
Obviously doesn't care enough.
Just
doesn't care enough for the little people.
Care enough. No. And he brings it out when it matters.
And Ben Foster and Jack Phillips only 1 frame behind him in the stats as well, shooting 75%. So
Jesus,
fantastic stuff, guys.
They're going to win the world title. The four teams you named, Marty, they're all fighting for second.
Great.
Australia's going to win the world title. I'm telling you now.
The Australian team is the world team.
That's it.
That's what it is.
The Australian team's the world team. I'm going to check this.
How's Gorski's form? Goes to Nationals, makes his first Australian team, and go to Worlds and win the world title.
That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Think about how many other players have dedicated so much longer than that to not get that. And my God. He'd think, this 8-ball stuff's all right. I've conquered it in 1 year. I'm going to go back to snooker. Tells the rest of his family, don't worry about that 8-ball thing.
Mick, you're right.
They've done that.
The England team is in 7th on the ladder, having won 2 and lost 2. And actually, Northern Ireland, who I've called out as one of the teams as well, has they've only played 3 matches, not 4. They've won 1 and lost 2. Ireland on top. Who else did I say? Ireland and Wales is in 4th, having won 3 and 1. So I just called them out because
a long way to go.
Those teams are littered with pros. There are other teams, France and Morocco are up there, but they'll have players in them that I won't recognise as much because they're not in the UK playing on the streams all of the time. But I'm sure you will know some of the players if you looked at their lists.
Is Malta playing as well?
Malta is playing. Yeah. They've won 3 matches. Yeah, great ball-playing nation.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So again, still a long way to go, but great start from the Aussies there. Well done, gents.
Actually, Rob Bowen, if you're listening to this, if you want to listen to the little people, can you get me a shirt off one of the Maltese guys? Just probably the bigger one of the bigger ones, because they're all short and small. So I want a shirt, a Maltese shirt.
Maltese shirt. If they've got a Maltese if they've got a Maltese glove, you only need a small one of them for me.
You're actually on the taller side, Mick, for a Maltese.
Yes, I am.
Blooded person. You're tall for your people.
Tall for your people. It's got a little affinity for the Maltese.
I'm a 6-foot male Maltese Aussie.
All right, let me keep going here. The over 50s team, the over 50s event is actually just wide open. There are 7 teams that have won 2 out of 3, including Australia. So, again, early days. Got to get some wins on the board. Tony Vujovic is sitting outright on top of the stats there at 78%. Keep going, Tony. Great stuff. Great start. Love to see you keep going there, mate. The under 23s have struggled a bit so far. Australia B is in 7th. Australia A is in 11th. But again, early days. Australia B has actually won 2 of 3. Again, those boys got to get some wins on the board. Joe Watkins up there in the stats in 7th with 6 out of 8. That's 75%. The only other thing really to cover so far is the women's shootout. Australia is in the semi-finals there against New Zealand, with South Africa and France in the other semi-final. The other events for everyone watching, the singles and doubles and the other events, we're not covering today because they either haven't started yet. We're only into day 2 of the event. There's a little bit of stuff going on literally right now as we're recording.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Or in a couple of the single events, they're only just in the first round. So we will go deeper in future episodes. But good luck to all the Australian teams. We're cheering you on back here. So we want to keep seeing you do well. Yeah. And the last thing for today is we've been doing this shot of the day, but I'm going to share you. This is more like a bit of drama. I don't know if you saw this. This is in the women's shootout.
It's not Mark again, is it?
It's not Mark. I'll share this with you. This is the women's shoot. Let me set the scene for you. It's the New Zealand are playing England in the women's shootout. New Zealand are leading that match 3-2. It's Kerry Lowe from New Zealand playing against Barbara Taylor. Barbara Taylor, a legend of English women's pool. She's their captain.
What is the shootout? Sorry, it's
the shootout is a knockout event where it's almost like a short timed match,
like the snooker.
I think I don't know what the time is for the match, but let's say it's 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, something like that. And you just keep playing matches, and whoever's in front when the time runs out wins the match, and they go through the next round. And if it's a tie, there's a 6-red shootout. So it's
sounds
literally
stressful.
Fast-paced match.
Stressful.
Yeah.
So the scene here is England need to win to draw with New Zealand and force a 6-red shootout. I don't know if you can tell there. There's 1:50 left on the clock.
Yeah.
That's Barbara Taylor at the table. She's on yellows. So you can, if you look at the layout, you can see she is snookered on that yellow. And obviously reds you would think are a strong favourite here. So let me just play this and you can watch what happens.
Trying to work out what could happen.
Near the bottom corner? Yeah, bottom corner? No, it's not going to fall. Oh.
More drama to come.
So, England's at the table now. Yeah.
New Zealand at the table now.
Oh.
That's not a very good shot, is it?
What just happened? It was over the pocket. Oh, my God. She's doubling this.
Well, it's landed a bit tricky.
Man. Come off the side rail. Yeah. Ooh. I know.
Goes to the top left.
Yeah. Oh. This is intense.
30 seconds left.
Oh, she's not going to reach. Oh, God, just hit it.
If she potted a ball, she had another
15 seconds. 10.
She deserves that. Wow.
I think she deserves the win, and New Zealand chick deserves the loss.
Yeah. Agreed.
Brutal. I mean, it's very
I've
easy.
seen some crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's very easy to be on your phone and, criticize and stuff. It's very hard out there, especially that format.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been there. We all understand what happened there as well. We've been on both ends, like knocking that ball in and missing, and the other person knocked. We've all been there, so we get it. So I suppose we can talk about it. I guess it's not like we haven't.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of. I mean, obviously a great shot on the black at the end, but she also had a yellow over the pocket and missed a simple positional shot on the black, and then missed what should be for her a relatively straightforward double.
Yeah.
But the pressure, the clock's counting down.
The nerves got her.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So really dramatic end. some justice was served for New Zealand. They won the 6-red shootout to go through.
All right, there you go. It's just like no harm done.
And now playing Australia in the semi-finals. So, but yeah, just a real moment of drama there during the week at the World Titles. So, yeah, fantastic.
And
to
they're
watch.
playing on the Russins, aren't they? Up there,
yes, with the ultimate cool cloth.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You haven't seen one or played on one yet?
Nope. No, and I've no idea what that cloth is like. They look very
glassy, very slidey, very
well, but also they grip really quickly. I saw a shot in the Australian men's match that was being streamed on Facebook where that a length of the table, balls over the pocket, and just kind of grabbed immediately and screwed 3/4 back. With what looked like not much effort, right? So that
have you ever played on the super fine that we had on Supremes?
I've played on super fine on a snooker table.
Okay, now even on the Supremes with the super fine, you can just tap a ball and make it come back 6 feet quite easily.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they were nice to play on.
Interesting. So, yeah. That's it from me for the pod today. Any final words from you boys?
Yeah, I'm trying to find this one of Mick.
Me?
This might even be, I may have found it.
What did I do? The only one that I know of that I actually got was the Pocket Series. I needed 2 racks in a minute 40. That was one of my biggest highlights.
I found it. I can't believe I found it.
I know, what is it? I'll show the icy pole thing if it's bad.
Can you if you can send this to me later, Mark, that'd be great.
All right, hang on, we're gonna try and hopefully my phone doesn't run out of batteries. All right, Mick.
Well, what is this? Did I stuff up or?
Look, it's only the semi-finals of the world titles against England, and we're 3-2 down.
We were never allowed to play on these cloth, by the way.
So, so I will defend Mick. I'd
won 7 out of 8.
The cloth was insanely fast, impossible to play on, and we had no idea where the white was going on any shot. So we're 3-2 down in the semi-finals of the world titles against England. Yeah. This is just to show it can happen to anyone, Mick. Using you as a good example here. So it's a pretty... Where are we? It's a pretty difficult out on reds there. Look how fast it is. It just keeps going.
It kept going quite a bit, didn't it? Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, you love screwing off those shots, Mick.
Yeah, I did.
The whites, yeah, right.
The white ball slid off the tip and just away. It was gone. The table was like playing on ice. It was crazy. I'd won 3 out of 4 that day.
Anyway,
no, not 3 out of 4.
It was that was for us to either go 3-all or 4-2 down.
We had a good side, so they had my back.
Oh man.
Send me the link to that, Mark.
No, there's better ones out there. Don't worry about it. We've seen it now. So
hang on.
Don't show them all at once. You've got to save them up. So you got to send this stuff in advance so we can.
Why me? Not me.
No. Just hang on a second. All right, this one should be easy to find because it's right at the end.
God, what do I do now? Oh, I don't know if anyone actually knows this, but I tried. Where do I start?
That You're on yellows, presumably,
yeah. That top ball, the yellow, look, it's just really hard, and these cloths are terrible. I tried to screw off 2 rails.
That's the top ball's not on.
Bottom left. No. That's how much it slid. I tried to come off bottom rail, side rail, and then back up in the line of that yellow, and it just
This is for us to win the world title.
Like I hit that soft and look at it roll. Yeah.
Justin and I were leaning over the barriers to check the line to see the black go in. As soon as he hit it, we knew it was in.
I actually blacked out for a split second. Everyone came over and gave me a hug, and I got squashed, and I literally felt like I blacked out for a second because everyone rushed in like this now, and then I got squashed, like right there. I got squashed.
So you
And
made up
yeah,
for it. Redemption.
they wouldn't. I went and grabbed the black after that because I wanted to take it home. And the guy goes, the ref goes, nah, we need it. I said, well, I'd like to take it because we just won the world title. He's like, nah, you're not allowed to. So I gave it to a person in the crowd and said, here, run off with it, and I'll get it off you later. And he did. And I turned back at the guy and said, I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
And in the end, they just gave me the rest of the box with the rest of the balls in it. I said, I'm taking it. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
There's even better one. We went to Greece and for 3 days, Justin, James, Mark, and myself, and that was it was a good little trip away after winning a world title. It was
Yeah.
and we booked that trip before we left too. So
you were going to tell us a story about this on the last pod. There was something that happened.
Oh yeah, I've had a couple of people ask me about that. The
Are
story.
you going to tell us the story?
I can say a bit of it, but then Mick can tell the part that I didn't see because he was actually there, because it's about Mick, and then I can take over the end. So I can sort of set the scene. So we've just won the world titles. We're in Greece. We're partying. Myself, James Della, Sage, and Mick. We're at like this pool party. So there's, like all your foam and your music, and your music's blaring, and we're in the swimming pool, and there's
it was like a
drinks.
TV situation. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was like you see in the movies and stuff. It was basically that. We're having a great time. Anyway, drinks, mixed round. He goes off to the bar, and we don't see him, but he goes off to the bar, and
which is about 40 meters just that way. Like there's a big pool, and then there's a bar, and I'm getting daiquiris. Daiquiris are like these big drinks with vodka and everything in them. And I said, can I get 4? And he said, yeah, does 4, £50. I'm like, £50 for this. All right, cool, £50, whatever. I got the tray, and I'm walking next to the pool, around the pool, and all of a sudden,
in front of everyone,
I slip backwards. I pretty much bust my pinky on the side of the pool because it's got all these little grate things around. I fall back. The drinks go everywhere. There's about this much drink left in one of them, and I'm embarrassed, and my toe's gone purple. I think I busted it, but I get back up, injured, hobbled back over, and said, "Look, I've just spilt everything. I slipped over near the pool just here. Do you mind, maybe helping me out?" And he's like, "No." Like, but in Australia, if this happens, he goes, "I'm not in Australia. We're not in Australia. So your fault. You're too bad." And I got really upset. And the little bit of drink was left like right in front of me. And I just I shouldn't have done it. I smashed it across the bar and it went everywhere. And he sort of got up and grabbed his towel and throws it at me and says, "You clean that up." I'm like, "I'm not cleaning shit up." And anyway, I look behind me and there's a couple of big dudes. They hop out of the pool and
just
stand
appeared.
here. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. So I walk back to Mark, James, and Jimmy. They're pissed. They're absolutely, they've lost it because they saw me fall.
Seen all of it.
And I said, "Boys, we need to go. There's no drinks. We need to go." Like they're a little bit upset, and I may have said a few things, and we need to get out of here. So we wrapped it up pretty early. Jumped on our quad bikes that we had. It was awesome. Quad bikes near the water. Go to a bar, have a few drinks. Jump quad bikes again. Go to the next one. This is our 3rd or 4th one. And yeah, we jumped on the bikes and we left. But it was it was a great trip. But that one, I was so lucky not to actually break my back or knock myself out. But if we stayed there, I reckon we may have disappeared. So
yeah, I remember the look on Della's face. Like when Mick said, "Oh, it's time to go," James has had a look around and he sort of pointed out that it felt like all the music had stopped, and it felt like everyone's eyes were now on these tourists. These guys who were causing trouble, and it was just that it had that vibe about it. Like, yeah, it's definitely time to go.
Like I would have paid £20. I would have paid another £20 just to get the refills, but he was just adamant that I pay another 50. And I thought, like in Australia, if I saw that, I'd help them out a little bit. Like we're there having a drink, and we've already spent a lot of money there as well. But Anyway, they didn't know who we were.
When you're in another country, you don't know what you can really get away with or not. Like if that happened
Nah.
in Melbourne, and if you did that at a bar or whatever, the bouncers would hastily escort you out, maybe a little bit of a nudge on the way out. But that's probably about it, really. But over there, you're not
Yeah,
sure.
you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Just Mick all of a sudden we're just never going to see him again.
No, all of us. all of us. I'm dubbing you all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. If one goes down, you all go down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take Justin. He's prettier than me.
I can just imagine that they kidnap you, Mick, and they get you working in like the back bar down, doing dishes or whatever for the next 5 years. We just don't know where you are.
Chains to the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
With my broken toe.
With
your purple toe and your broken little pinky finger. Yeah.
Oh,
mate,
God.
I've never seen the sky so quick. Looking straight and then seeing sky and covered in alcohol. It was it happened so quick. And I was walking. I was walking around the pool and not running.
It was just the perfect person for it to happen to. If anyone knows Mick very well, just for this to happen to Mick, it was just so beautiful. It was the highlight of the trip.
Well done, gents. Good,
right.
Good fun story to end on. Thanks for your time tonight, gents. Good pod. We'll put that one in the can and see you next week.